adventure in Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
To get to the cream of the crop is gonna take a mood like a hottie. Patronize all night long, and I'm still full of hottie.
This is the Pipeman here on the Adventures of Pipeman W4CY Radio, and I'm very excited about my next guest because we go way back. And so I want to welcome to the show Phil Sandoval from Armored Saint.
Hello, how's everyone doing? Thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. And I got to tell you, it's pretty cool. You got this new album out, and I totally relate to Emotion Factory Reset. And I read what you kind of said about it, and I loved it because I'm also a motivational speaker, and I'm a big believer of it's not what happens to you, it's what your attitude is towards it.
Sure, it sure is. You know, I listen to a lot of Stoic wisdom, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, you know, Epictetus, but it's helped me a lot actually this year. And I think, you know, choosing positive, choosing peace over chaos is really important and stuff. And happiness is something that you choose to have in your life. It's not something you just find, you know, in a person or anything else. It's like, you kind of have to work at it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
totally.
As we get older, I think it's important to live a fulfilling life, you know, because the past is gone and the future, you know, you don't have no idea what's going to happen, you know.
Exactly.
And in the way Emotion Factory Reset, it's kind of like the world kind of needs a factory reset.
Totally.
Kind of like with everything that's going on in the world. And that's kind of like what the meaning of that is for me, you know. So that's what we're giving the world, is this plate of amazing music, and hopefully that can reset your mind to something more positive.
I love it. And it's so true too. You know, sometimes it's funny because like I play video games, and I've often thought a lot of times too, man, it would be nice if life sometimes was like a video game and you just hit the reset button when you screwed up on a level and you could just go start over. And,
right, exactly.
And that's what we are able to do if we put our mind to it, and, you know, it's our attitude towards it.
It totally is. Every day that you wake up in the morning, you know, it's a grateful because somebody else in the world did not wake up that day that you're waking up. They're dead. They're gone, you know, and that's going to happen to all of us one day. And so, but in the meantime, you might as well live a fulfilling life, you know.
Absolutely. So tell us, for this new album, what's your favorite part of the album besides that message? What's your favorite part musically of the album?
Believe it or not, it's the solo that I did in Not in On Your Life, because I learned this lick from Guthrie Govan. And I would play it. I'm going, man, it would be great if I could put this lick into one of the solos. You know what I mean? And I was able to do that. And I kind of felt like I achieved something that I wanted to do with that piece of music. So that's one of the favorite parts of that. Of course, the two songs that I was able to get in there were Throw Caution to the Wind and Ladders and Slides, where my brother and I worked on. But also one of my favorite parts is that I got some lyrics in there on the song Moonshot, Close to the Bone, Not on Your Life, and Buzzkill, because we were on tour with Queensryche, and I think I gave like John and Joey like 50 or 60 album titles, you know, and out of those they picked one, which was Buzzkill. But in there, John told me, you know, Phil, I'm open to getting some lyrics as well. And I went, oh, really? That he's never said that before.
Wow.
So, yeah. So I was able, he liked some of my lyrics and he actually used them on the album. And he usually doesn't do that, you know?
Wow.
Yeah, he usually does not do that, but he was open to it. and I took the challenge, and I gave them some ideas, and they made it to those 4 songs: Moonshot, Close to the Bone, Not on Your Life, and Buzzkill. And one of the lyrics was Emotion Factory Reset, and that ended up being the name of the album. So there's another thing that I'm
Nice.
so there's a lot for me in there.
See, that's cool how that worked out. And like, it must feel great after like all these decades to be contributing in ways that you probably didn't contribute to before.
Right. Because our first album was all, all of us together, David Pritchard, rest in peace, and all of us 5 and stuff, doing it the old-fashioned way. But all the lyrics were from John, But come 2026, some of the lyrics in those songs come from my ideas and stuff, and it's not an ego thing or nothing like that. It's just what is present of mind right now and what happened, and I'm very much appreciative of that.
I love it, and it is something you should be proud of, because I think as a musician, you do want to evolve and you do want to experiment and do different things, especially when you've been doing it as long as you have.
Yeah, and that's something different. I mean, so I feel good as a musician and as a guitar player and stuff, that I was able to contribute more than just this good solo or a rhythm part and stuff, and it actually went above that. You know what I mean? Nice. Yeah.
And you mentioned Dave. Yeah, rest in peace. One of my favorite memories of him was I was at one of your shows, and like I always used to hang out, we guys backstage, and then the security wouldn't let me through, and he came running through the security, grabbed my arm, and just like pulled me through the security guards. He was the nicest dude.
That is Dave right there in a nutshell. He broke barriers, he broke rules. You know what I mean? It's like an incredible musician, artist. He drew. He was very creative. He could play Eruption on the piano, which was pretty amazing. Everybody's playing it on the guitar, but check this out. I went to it one time, and he goes, "Check this out." He starts playing Eruption on the piano. I'm like,
That's wild.
That's wild. In 2026, I just started playing the piano. I actually picked it up, and
really,
I'm just barely like learning the notes and everything, just because it's different than the guitar, and I kind of want to see how all this like comes together.
Nice.
I'm not saying that there's going to be piano in the next Armored Saint album, but I'm just doing it so I could grow as a musician.
Yeah, totally. And I think it probably would make you a better guitar player too, on top of it, because it's just a different part to add to it,
Yeah. And I think Eddie Van Halen, I know that he goes, I never like learned how to read music and stuff, but I mean, he sure played piano first, and then he won competitions. The Long Beach piano competition, he won that. So I don't know if how could you win that and not learn how to read music? But the thing that I think that his fingers and his ability to play piano, it helped him in his guitar.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping that helps me too.
And the most important part is that you have fun doing it, because being a musician, that's the part. Like everything else is probably not so much fun. The playing and doing that's the fun part.
Yeah, that's the fun part. That is the aspect of just doing that is the joy, and creating and stuff like that. That's the joy. You know what I mean?
Totally. Mm-hmm. Totally. And so one story, good or bad, in your whole career in music, what would you say it would be?
Would be like when we opened up for the Scorpions in '91, and they had that hit with the whistling, and being in a stadium full of 20,000 people whistling that, and me like looking up, and they were whistling so much that there was air coming towards us.
Wow.
We're all like looking. And that moment, it was all dark, and they all had their lighters on, and they were whistling that part. And the Scorpions treated us like kings, you know.
Song is Winds of Change.
Winds of Change.
Yeah.
That song, Winds of Change.
Yeah.
That moment right there was where I felt just completely like out of spirit, like, you know. And I kind of got me a little emotional because it was like a beautiful moment that I'll never forget.
See, that's what I love to hear, stuff like that, because that's what makes it all worthwhile, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what got you started in music, period. Like what, and who started first, you or Gonzo? Like who started, or did you do it at the same time when you were little kids?
I think Gonzo did first. Gonzo was friends with John and Joey, but what started me was Jimmy Page and Ace Frehley. I remember in junior high school, Joey was playing the guitar. David Avila, rest in peace, was the local guitar hero, and John sang, and Gonzo played drums. And they did this thing in junior high school, and I was sitting there, and I'm going, man, that's fucking cool. I want to be part of this, you know? And so I started kind of taking the guitar a little bit more serious. I think I was like 15. And then in high school, we came up with the band Royal Decree, and we played covers and stuff like that. And it was me, Gonzo, Joey, and John. And then when we left high school, we disbanded. But actually, John moved to South Pasadena High School, and Gonzo followed. And that's when Gonzo met David Pritchard. And then David Pritchard, me and Gonzo started playing together, and that came to be Armored Saint, because then John Bush joined, and then Joey Vera joined, and then that's kind of like the citadel of Armored Saint, the heart of it. That's how it started.
And here we are, 2026, brand new album.
Yeah.
That, like, I listened to the whole album, and man, it is not only really, really good 2026 metal, but it also brings me back to the 80s metal. It's like a combination of both. It's like if you took 80s Armored Saint and modernized it to 2026, that's this album.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And like I have in the background here, there's a bunch of vinyls. So I love all the colors. So you got a bunch of cool packages that people can get for the new album when it drops.
Yeah, it's awesome. Thank you.
It drops on May 22nd.
Right.
And through Metal Blade Records. So funny, because it's how I got to your first show, because like it's funny. I said something to Brian a few years ago about this, about how he was like that. I said he was a brilliant marketer, and he's like, I was just a record store clerk, because me and my friends used to go to Oz Records, and he would go, here, check this out. And then he showed us the promo flyer for that Halloween show with Wasp and you guys and Headshaker. And we just looked at him like, oh, we got to go to that show. And, there it is. The rest is history.
I know. And it's incredible how Brian Slagle was keen to tap into the Metallica, the Armored Saint, the Rat, the Marty Friedman was even in there. And,
yep.
And also a lot of these bands that he kind of like helped get on record first, became something, and one of them became the biggest heavy metal band of all time, which is Metallica.
Right. And I was at their first show ever because of Brian Slagle.
Wow. So Brian Slagle deserves some kind of mention in the Metal Hall of Fame somewhere in the world.
No doubt. We wouldn't be talking right now, I think, if it weren't for Brian Slagle, because I probably wouldn't be here, and who knows where metal would be.
I know. Look at that. He's still helping us, although Joey is married to the president now, which is Tracy Vera.
Yeah.
And look at what happened with that. but
Right.
I mean, it's incredible, what Brian Slagle has done. And kudos to him and a tip of the hat to Brian Slagle.
Totally. And speaking of Joey, I love too that he just keeps producing your albums because he's pretty badass at that. And you can tell when you hear the final, songs of the production quality.
It sure is. It's incredible, the amount of awesomeness that is Joey Vera, and we love him, and I appreciate him very much as a person, as a bandmate, and as a business partner, and everything else. Really, you know what I mean?
Totally.
On top of it, he's an awesome bass player.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like I remember that first show. I was like, man, he sounds like Steve Harris. Swear to God, that's what I thought back then.
Yeah.
And still holds true.
Sure.
So thanks for giving us new music here in 2026. It's badass. Everybody has to. The record drops May 22nd. You gotta get Emotion Factory Reset. Man, it is killer. I'm telling you, and we appreciate you guys. You and everybody in Armored Saint, and thank you for giving us this great music and positive attitude for all these years.
Thank you, the Pipe Man. Thank you, and get your Emotion Factory Reset and get yourself reset.
Yes.
Positivity. Hello, this is Philip Sandoval from Armored Saint, and you're listening to the Pipe Man on W4CY Radio. Yeah.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.